A very good evening to you all and welcome to our first edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV this Tuesday, the 8th day of August 2023. First though, let's have a look at what's making headlines at this hour. In our top stories tonight, President Museveni rallies African counterparts towards economic independence. Prime Minister Robin Nabanja meets with the UN team on implementing SDGs. FDC replaces Ibrahim Semuju with Mawokota South MP Yusuf Nsibambi. And in sports, the Federation of Uganda Basketball Association launches the Gazelles Vision 2025 campaign. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language, it is Elizabeth Nakakoni and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has rallied African counterparts towards economic independence by adding value to raw materials and reiterated the urgent need to adopt modern technologies to improve coffee standards to match global market standards. Now, he was officiating at the opening of the second G25 African Coffee Summit, as we hear in this story.
The second G25 African Coffee Summit centered on the transformation of African coffee through value addition and expansion of trade by dealing with non-tariff barriers across the continent.
What if the value addition is done to other raw materials like copper, gold, iron ore, lithium, etc.? Money to Africa will mean higher purchasing power for Africa. The Africans who now lack electricity will be able to afford to pay for electricity. I propose to say that global affluence will benefit everybody. Down with imperialism, down with the parasitism, long live the win-win strategy.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni identified modern slavery based on the export of raw materials, which deprives young people of employment and accelerates inequalities on the global market share.
Of these raw materials, that's why the economy of Africa is stunted. African economy is stunted. Therefore, we, the raw materials producers, need to conduct internal struggles in our respective countries to add value to these raw materials, including coffee, so that we earn more from our sweat and create more jobs for our youth instead of dying in the Mediterranean going to Europe. We also need to sensitize our partners in the countries that have been buying our raw materials at same slave prices. In the last 60 years, I have been involved in the struggle against this modern slavery.
African leaders have converged to strategize and unlock untapped potential in the global coffee sector.
Also encouraging investments in value addition and working to improve the market chain so that the producing farmers can have fair share of the benefit and be encouraged for production of more volume and better quality coffee.
Stakeholders in the sector recommend incentives towards coffee farmers and producers in Africa to adopt smart farming practices for quality output.
Incentives include e-voucher fertilizer input subsidy program for coffee farmers, rollout of the coffee revitalization program, establishment of the Cherry Advanced Revolving Fund, coffee credit financing through the establishment of Commodities Fund to provide affordable finance credit for coffee farming and other agricultural produce, as well as review of the subsector's legislation.
Through leveraging on the African Continental Free Trade Area, intra-regional trade of coffee is expected to rise by establishing regional value chain framework.
To include coffee among the strategic agricultural commodities, this will enable the continent to identify, formulate and drive the implementation of policies and solutions for higher returns in the sector.
Reaffirming that the African Continent Free Trade Area, to which we are parties, creates a single African market that facilitates the 25 African coffee producers to trade freely with other African Union member countries.
The coffee-producing countries agreed in the Kampala Declaration to invite the African Union to include coffee as a strategic commodity in its 2063 agenda.
Recognizing that the 99% of African coffee is exported in raw form, resulting into the loss of economic benefits associated with value addition, thus depriving the continent of jobs and colossal sums of revenue earnings.
Despite Africa's significant contribution of 12% to the global coffee sector, consumption of local coffee remains low, and the largest portion of local consumers depend on the imported coffee. Abdul Nasser Lowama for UBC.
Now, Vice President Jessica Lupo has held a private meeting with her Tanzanian counterpart, Dr. Philip Isdor Mpango. Now, the meeting, which was held at the sidelines of the G25 African Coffee Summit, is centered on different areas in which the two countries cooperate. Dr. Mpango is here to attend the Coffee Summit. At the conference, Her Excellency Jessica Alupo said the two countries need to build synergies in benefiting maximally from the great potential of coffee to the economies. She re-echoed President Museveni's call on adding value to coffee and said this was the direction of the government of Uganda. The summit helped to consolidate the position and urgency of adding value to the coffee that is being produced in Uganda and the EAC region. The Prime Minister, Honorable Nabanja Robina, has met the United Nations team and discussed ways of implementing the Sustainable Development Goals and Uganda's development agenda. The UN team was led by the UN Resident Coordinator in Uganda, Ms. Susan Namondo, and the meeting took place at the office of the Prime Minister here in Kampala.
During the meeting, the Prime Minister and the UN team discussed the upcoming UN summit in New York. Uganda has been invited to participate in this year's SDG summit, which is planned to take place between 18th and 19th September 2023. During the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly High-Level Week, Nabanja asked the UN to support Uganda as it prepares the UN summit in September this year.
During the SDG summit, there will be several bilateral meetings and side events that Uganda is prepared to take part in. I understand that all member states are required to prepare and present national level commitments as part of the rescue plan for the people and the planet in the remaining period up to 2030. I wish to inform you that government will start making preparations on this.
Premier Nabanja reiterated government's commitment to achieve the SDGs through the parish development model and also the National Development Plan 4, focuses on the SDGs.
After the SDG summit, we look forward to delivering on the SDG rescue plan, in which we need to ensure that the commitments are part of the National Development Framework. Uganda is in the process of developing the National Development Plan 4, and will ensure that NDP 4 is informed by recommendations from the SDG summit.
Justin Kasule Lumumba, the minister in charge of general duties in the office of the Prime Minister, thanked the UN family for choosing to meet the government of Uganda team. Before the summit, the minister briefed the UN family on how Uganda is steadily progressing in SDGs achievement with the introduction of PDM.
We chose the topic of building resilience and leaving no one behind, with the intention of really carrying our PDM with us, the parish development model, take it at that global platform and market it and show it to everybody. We shall bang it in everybody's face so that get visibility and then go to those who can lend a hand to work with us, because government realized this is the only way we could bring everybody on.
Susan Namondo Ngonji, the UN resident coordinator in Uganda, says the UN summit looks at nations to share their experiences on how they are accelerating development despite of the global challenges.
Plans for really accelerating development results. Yeah, we all know that we're struggling globally. We're struggling. Yeah, these pandemic, the geopolitical tensions that we've had recently are really impacting development outcomes. So we know that. So in New York, it's really looking to governments to come and share how, despite all of these global challenges that we have, how they will accelerate development progress.
Namondo assured government that the UN will continue supporting the development agenda of Uganda.
So in New York, it's really looking to governments to come and share how, despite all of these global challenges that we have, how they will accelerate development progress.
So it's the way it's structured, it really helps us to translate all the SDGs down to the people. It will work very, very well, and it's very, very achievable once we use that.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, will make a presentation on Uganda's progress in the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals agenda. At the summit, he will also deliver the rescue plan for People One Planet at the summit. Shaidat Nasaku, UBC News.
Now, Forum for Democratic Change Party Secretary General Nathan Nandalan Mafabi wrote a letter on a headed paper of FDC addressed to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, Anita Among, on the 7th of August 2023, withdrawing Honourable Semoju Ibrahim Uganda as party whip, which was taken to be with immediate effect, and replaced him with Yusuf Nsibambi, representing Mawokota South constituency. He did it in accordance with Section 6(1) of the party. Now, Semoju has responded to this change that it was expected, although the powers that have withdrawn him have no rights of sacking him, but the National Executive Committee that elected him. And we have more in this story.
Because in our earlier meeting with Amuriat, he told the FDC MPs that Semoju Uganda was talking too much and he was causing you other MPs problems. In fact, I was waiting for this. First of all, I was elected by the FDC National Executive Committee. Amuriat and Nandala have no right to sack me like they are purporting. But also there is nothing in being the FDC whip in Parliament. If they want it so much, I will give it to them. They didn't even have to sack me like they are purporting. Because my major responsibility is to represent the people of Kira municipality. The way it started much earlier, even with the elections. Amuriat has been so incompetent that he even fears competition from his own people. I think now he will become a very big leader now that Semoju has been disturbing him, is no longer the whip. And I congratulate him.
Elders in the party and founder members and my family have accepted this responsibility. It's not an easy position, as you realize, given the circumstances, but we have a duty and a responsibility to galvanize our party. I'm a founder member and deeply involved and concerned with what is going on. I think, given time, the parliamentary leadership will be in position to go and harmonize the different parties. I'm not even talking about reconciliation, because it's not a very big problem. It's a slight problem which has not been addressed well. You don't have to have a vacuum. Already you have the leadership in parliament is conflicted, has taken a different dimension. So you need a voice and a head which is not deeply involved in these wrangles. So I think we just want to fill the vacuum. It's not about taking positions, because it's not about pay, but really we have to fill this vacuum. And the parliamentary leadership is quite important as an organ, parliamentary caucus, to ensure that you have reconciliation and bring the parties together. Because as parliament we have been one. We have a lot of respect for Honorable Semuju, who has been our whip. We have not had issues at parliamentary level. So we're not going that direction, because I can assure you, if you look at the press conference of Dr. Besigye yesterday, if you look at the meeting which was at Fairway, and I think even Najana Nkumi, all the parties are saying they are still members of FDC.
Now, State Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Amos Lugolobi, has been arraigned in the Anti-Corruption High Court and charged with 2 counts of dealing with stolen iron sheets. Minister Lugolobi pleaded not guilty before the trial judge, Lady Justice Margaret Tibulia. We have more in this story.
State Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Amos Lugolobi, has appeared at the Anti-Corruption High Court in Kololo to answer charges of involvement in the diversion of iron sheets, which were meant for Karamoja region. Before Lady Justice Margaret Tibulia, court confirmed the 2 charges of dealing with suspect property against Minister Amos Lugolobi. However, he pleaded not guilty to all the alleged offences. Court also appointed 3 assessors to preside over this case, and these include Judith Muhaire, Fred Semukwano, and John Martin Ofono, and was sworn in by court. Prosecution led by Joan Namatov informed court that they are ready to proceed with the hearing of the case. However, the defense lawyers led by Johnny Sabirie told court that they need more time to first analyze the documents tendered in by prosecution to be relied on during the trial. Court resumed on 22nd August 2023 for hearing of the case. Prosecution alleges that Minister Amos Lugolobi, while at the office of the Prime Minister stores in Namaveni Mukono district and at different places in Matuga, Wachiso district and in Ntenjelu North, Kayunga district, dealt with government property of over 700 pre-painted iron sheets, which prosecution says was loss of public property. Deborah Nama Monde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
Now, the Minister for Security, General Jim Muhwezi, has clarified on the costs and terms of contract between government and the Russian company contracted to install digital number plates. Now, Minister Jim Muhwezi, together with the Minister for Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala, were appearing before the Parliamentary Committee on Infrastructure to respond to issues raised in the petition by Kasita.
A petition that was brought by Kasita. How did you generate this cost, especially for the motorcycles?
In the issues raised in the petition by the Kampala Capital City Traders Association on the implementation of the digital number plates project included the cost of registration and awareness creation. Minister for Security General Jim Muhwezi and Minister for Works and Transport General Katumba Wamala appeared before the Parliamentary Committee on Physical Infrastructure.
Now, because a foreigner has come, you want to give him a lot of money. This money is going to go to an individual company, not in the coffers of government. How come we are jumping to a high figure when we had been getting little money for our government?
The committee, among others, sought to know how the contract was awarded to the foreign company from Russia and the involvement of local companies and the financial and technical capability of the company.
We asked for experience of the company. We asked for the existence of the company, whether it is existing or not. Then availability of the technical staff to carry on the exercise. The capacity, that is the financial capacity of the company that is contracted to do this work. Then availability of equipment.
Minister General Jim Muhwezi told the committee that the company is meeting its entire investment expenditure and the returns will be realized during the 10 years windows of the contract. He also told the committee that due diligence was conducted by Engineer Lumu of National Enterprise Corporation and a report was presented to the President and a joint security team before the company was contracted.
Engineer Lumu of National Enterprise Corporation made a report to His Excellency the President, and we presented that report.
He clarified that the cost of registration for digital number plates was generated by Ministry of Finance and was based on the ministry's financial model.
This financial model was looking at the total investment, not only number plates. Now, cost drivers include number plates, selling of number plates for the investor to recoup their investment, but also traffic fines. Those were some of the key drivers for recouping investment.
Registration for both bodabodas and cars will cost 735,000 shillings, but the costs only apply for those acquiring new number plates. Those already with the number plates will pay 50,000 for motorcycles and 150,000 for cars, which costs will remain fixed for a period of the contract.
And there is an agreement which is duly signed and binding on both parties.
Chair, very
important. For 10 years.
On whether the project can be implemented in phases, the minister told the committee that given the matter of urgency, this would not be possible. The technology to be used in Uganda, according to the minister, is the same being used in Russia and will not interfere with anyone's privacy, but will be linked to the police security system.
Sure that Russia has smart number plates. We need to ascertain that, Chair. Whether Russia has the smart number plates that you are saying this company is going to bring here. But also, most importantly, Chair,
fitting of the number plates and installation of trackers will be done by the company together with the certified car bonds. The project to kickstart in November 2023 will be rolled out in Kampala first, given the highest rates of crime. Susan Naung and Gloria Guitabinji reporting for ABC TV.
These days, our homes are no longer just the places we live. It's where we attend meetings, go to class, keep each other safe, and entertain ourselves. To do this smoothly, you need a reliable internet connection. Buy the MTN WakaNet router, which connects up to 32 devices and gets a free 40 GB data bundle at only 149,000 shillings. Or buy the MTN WakaNet MiFi at only 75,000 shillings and enjoy a free 15 GB bundle to stream, study, work, and play on the go. Visit any MTN service center to buy the MTN WakaNet router or MiFi and enjoy the internet that does amazing things.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mode Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mode Technologies, your professional research firm.
Uganda's oil and gas activities are undertaken in line with the updated environment legislation and benchmarked on international best practice standards in order to continuously ensure coexistence between the oil activities and Uganda's rich biodiversity. Following the award of the Environment and Social Impact Assessment certificates for the Kingfisher, Tilenga and East African crude oil pipeline projects, various environmental and social management plans have also been developed to ensure sustainable development of the projects. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda is working with other regulatory bodies to monitor all oil and gas activities to enhance compliance and environment protection during oil activities. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Introducing the Infinix Note 30 series in partnership with Airtel Uganda, a smartphone where style meets functionality. Take charge of the day with special features like the 108MP triple camera and 68 watts first charge, and the best part is you can use this phone to charge other phones. You also will enjoy free 3GB from Airtel every month for 3 months on each new device purchased. Dial *100#, select data and devices to get your free data. The Infinix Note 30 series Spark, a connection in partnership with Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Malaria is still the #1 cause of death in Uganda. To help you protect your family from malaria, the government of Uganda is giving mosquito nets to every household. Register and receive your mosquito nets from the community health worker. Distribution of nets in the following districts and cities will take place between the 1st and 15th of August. Kaliro, Sironko, Rakai, Bugweri, Masaka, Dokolo, Karungu, Chotera, Bududa, Luengo, Nakaseke, and Mbale districts, plus Masaka and Mbale cities. Every district will have received their mosquito nets by November. Together, we can chase malaria out of Uganda. Sleep under a mosquito net every night. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from the Global Fund.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates back to ground. Sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money, instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. A warm welcome to those of you who are just joining us. On sign language, it is Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Rukid Edward Kijanangoma. Now, President Museveni has tasked born-again pastors and evangelists to be resourceful and come up with alternative income-generating projects to supplement their preaching income. This was a message delivered by the Special Presidential Advisor on Special Duties, Dr. Rakana Rugunda, at the opening of the East African Fire and Anointing Pastors Conference held here in Kampala.
The two-day East African Fire and Anointing Pastors Conference has opened at Zambia Youth Sharing Center in Kampala, with over 1,000 pastors and evangelists from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, and Rwanda. President Yoweri Museveni tasked the pastors to emulate Jesus Christ. The message was delivered by Senior Presidential Advisor on Special Duties, Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda.
Of Jesus Christ, who, besides praying, preaching, and fasting, also earned his bread as a carpenter. They should also participate in income-generating activities to sustain their households.
The head of the State House Investors Protectorate Unit, Colonel Edith Nakalema, described the conference as timely.
I have no doubt that Nsambya Kampala, Uganda is right now in the
fire proclaiming the gospel that is current globally.
The guest preacher, Dr. Michelle Cora, a renowned American preacher for the last 50 years from Breath of the Spirit Ministries, gave some inspirational tips to the pastors.
And for choosing Uganda to be the vessel and the instrument to lead the world in a new revival. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Bishop Wilberforce Kamoga of Union Vision Church, Kayunga, Galilaya, and Pastor Jordan Mude of Kingdom Church Ndeje shared their conference expectations.
And we've been blessed. The word was good. You know, the fire is on the ground. We are here at Zambia sharing whole blessed us. Everything is good.
This conference is to empower pastors to anointing fire in our churches and the whole nation. God bless you.
Pastor Ernest Benjamin Chivumbi, the president of the Global Hill, the Planet Organization, is the conference host.
They have a command, so the message of development and take use of government development programs is very key. That instead of just preaching, we can have time to go and work.
Story compiled by Edward Juko for UBC News.
Now, there are so many questions that are coming up in as far as the refugee status, not only in Uganda, but the entire African region is concerned. Now, some of them are, who is taking the other's generosity for granted? Is it refugee generating or hosting countries? Who is supposed to promote and embrace peace? Is it refugee generating or hosting countries? Now, if the answer to the last question is both, then why does the number of refugees continue to increase in Africa? Members of the Forum of the Great Lakes Parliament concluded the meeting in Kampala, and they answered some of those questions. Henry Okrut reports.
It was the 14th joint statutory meeting of the Committee on Humanitarian and Social Issues, Gender, Children and Vulnerable Persons of the member states of the International Conference on the Great Lakes region.
I think the government of Uganda, and together with the UN and the other partners, they need also to elevate or to upgrade the health center that is within the settlements.
There would be vocational training centers for the youth and the women, such that even if they are to go back to their countries of origin, they can go when at least they're empowered with some skills, they can begin on something that can support their families.
The message centered on promoting peace as a remedy to refugee crisis.
So as parliamentarians, if we keep on crying to these European countries, which have to save these people who have run away from their countries, while we are letting our leaders who are not maintaining peace in their countries, we are torturing our people.
The legislators from 12 countries of the Great Lakes region had earlier on visited Nachivale refugee settlement in the Isingiro district of western Uganda. They shared with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees.
Also, there are women who have lost their husbands, and constructing houses is a bit of a challenge, so they need support.
When people are in a situation of hopelessness, they need somebody to at least give them a sense of hope and direction, and this is where your office comes in handy.
We are intervening in all these, but with 27% of your budget for this year, not to talk of last year, the deficit of last year and the deficit of the year before, is very, very difficult to cover all the needs of refugees.
It is because of such experience that a number of resolutions have been adopted. The actualization of peace is core in the approved joint communique.
We have seen their torture. Even if we are going to cry today, the government of Uganda has done its best. These donors are trying to do their best. But what our leaders are doing, we have to maintain peace. The key to these issues is not to cry for water for refugees, is not to cry for construction of schools for refugees, is to maintain peace at our place.
So that at least these people could go back to their country.
Before you can engage in any discussion, you must first make sure that there is fire, the fighting stops. And that one is a mechanism that is normally employed that has different stages, handled at different levels.
With the two-day conference successfully ended, what now remains is implementing adopted resolutions. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Now to the courts of law, where the Anti-Corruption Court in Kololo has issued a warrant of arrest against the former Uganda National Bureau of Standards Executive Director, David Livingstone Ebiru. Now this follows Ebiru's failure to appear before court following the criminal summons issued on the 4th of August 2023.
Former Executive Director of Uganda National Bureau of Standards, David Livingstone Ebiru, is facing charges of corruption opened against him by the Inspectorate of Government. Ebiru confessed before Kosasa in Parliament to have given out 100 million shillings to the National Standards Council to retain his job as the Executive Director of UNBS. Court had indicated the 8th of August 2023 for Charles Ebiru to appear before court for plea taking. However, Ebiru has not appeared. Before Chief Magistrate Joan Achiro, Ebiru's lawyer Paul Mugoya Wanyoto informed court that he failed to serve the accused due to limited time. However, IGG's prosecutor, Rogers Chinobe, objected. Chinobe cited that Wanyoto had all the necessary time since he even submitted bail documents to the IGG's office.
On the 4th of August this year, he appeared in our offices. Rather, his lawyers, Mr. Paul Mugoya Wanyoto, came to our offices and received the criminal summons that were issued against him. On the same date, he gave us bail documents.
With this, he prayed to court to issue a warrant of arrest against Ebiru for failure to appear in court.
Criminal summons were issued against Mr. David Ebiru Livingstone to appear in court and take plea in a matter of corruption, where he offered 100 million shillings to Mr. Maseruko Charles, a board member, the chairperson of board member of Uganda National Bureau of Standards. The court did not agree with his submission, and a warrant of arrest has been issued against him to appear on the 31st of August this year.
Chief Magistrate Achiro agreed with the prosecutor on grounds that there is no way the defense lawyer could have failed to serve the accused in this modern day of technology. Between October and December 2022, Livingstone Ebiru, formerly employed in the public service as an executive director for Uganda National Bureau of Standards, corruptly offered gratification of 100 million shillings to Charles Maseruka as an inducement to secure his job. Court resumes on 31st August 2023 to proceed with the matter. Rebecca Natongo, Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
National Environment Management Authority NEMA has signed a memorandum of understanding with the International University of East Africa on reduction of emissions. The memorandum of understanding is intended to enhance collaboration on research and training projects, mainly on reduction of mobility emissions.
National Environmental Management Authority has started engaging different institutions on environmental management through training and research on the impact and contribution of the environment towards the realization of Uganda's National Development Plan 2040. In the Memorandum of Understanding signed with the International University of East Africa on reduction of emissions, mainly mobility, is also intended to help the institution leverage in promoting environmental compliance, green economy approach to environment, and natural resources management. IUEA Vice Chancellor Professor Emeka Akezua and NEMA's Executive Director Akankwasa Balirega presided over the signing ceremony. Professor Emeka Akezua says the university will provide competent qualified personnel and students for implementation of the joint environmental project.
Environment is what sustains all of us here on Earth, and managing it properly to eliminate or to reduce the impact of climate change is very important. So we are working on numerous projects that will help to alleviate the problems that we have.
The university's main focus will be on mobility around the congested city centre, motorized boats and electric boats to prevent their effects on the lake.
As we know, there are many borders in Kampala, and they cause a lot of environmental pollution. So we start with those by providing an alternative to the border riders. We are talking about electric boats to prevent the spilling of petrol and other waste into the lake.
The executive director, NEMA, Dr. Akankwansa Bariga, says the partnership with the university was based on its advancement in technology. He says this collaboration with such institutions is focusing on reduction of environmental emissions by supporting emission-free innovations like non-motorized emissions.
They already have technologies to support green agriculture, to support green transport. For example, they innovated what we call the electric border. So we are going through them and the other partners to have an emission-free border economy.
NEMA engages stakeholders to reduce environmental emissions through alternative energy solutions.
Now, the Ministry of Works and Transport is constructing a bridge to link Bukedea and Butembo districts, opening business to the weekly markets. Now, 3 years ago, floods washed away Konyama Lugai Bridge, Komuge in sub-county, cutting off traders and buyers in the two districts.
Work has started on Konyama Lugai Bridge to create access for traders and business persons connecting Bukedea and Butembo districts.
We have a big market in Kachumbala called Odelo, and there is also a market in Butembo, in Keke and Amuge. So this is going to improve the interconnectivity.
At least Bukedea District local government has allocated over 4 billion shillings for road coverage, but road coverage is still wanting.
We were at 0% road coverage, but as we speak today, we are at around 17%. So we still have a long way to go to connect our communities. If you moved around, you will see how terrible the situation is. So we still beg government to support us more.
Budget cuts and resource mismanagement allocated for road construction seem responsible for impassable roads in the district.
Even if it meant oversight on a daily basis, we are going to employ our people to be on these road works. We are going to provide our people with the smartphones who are going to be monitoring the works, the mixers, and they will be taking photos and we keep capturing. And then we deal with whoever is an enemy.
It comes with the component of low-cost ceiling for low-volume road that will be complete in 1 year.
Land is becoming expensive from time to time, and the whole distances also are becoming really long. So you'll find the cost of gravel is really increasing. So what we are trying to do is to ensure we maximize the available gravel and make sure we seal it so that the road lasts longer instead of using gravel frequently.
Bukedea in Teso sub-region is low-lying and experiences floods during the rain season, leaving most feeder roads destroyed. Joseph Okow, UBC.
We'll now take another short break and we'll be returning with what's happening in the world of business. Stay with us.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in shouldn't hinder. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Granny.
What did you do this weekend?
Well, on Friday, I went on a science trip with my classmates to Windy to see the gorillas. Then we watched the Cup final in London.
Oh.
On Saturday, my friends and I met up to hunt some dragons again. Also, I taught the vacuum cleaner and the TV this new dance everyone's doing. They're really getting into it. And on Sunday, I went to bed watching the world from space. And you? Yeah, seriously, Granny.
With Airtel 5G's lightning-fast speeds and seamless connectivity, you won't believe what's next.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
The biggest, the baddest East African Christian Marathon is here. Come participate at the East African Christian Marathon for a prayer run on the 13th of August 2023 at the Lugogo Hockey Grounds. Come represent your family at the prayer run and run for a good cause to build the first call center, which will be East Africa's virtual listener. Come for the prayer run alongside your pastors, leaders, representatives from Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, South Sudan, and of course Uganda. Participate with Honorable Captain Mike Mukula, who is the chief runner and patron. Do not miss out on this opportunity. Make your donation for your kid now from 20,000, 30,000, and 100,000 Uganda shillings, because runs change the world. For more details, call 0781 885 055 or visit our website at www.eastafricachristianmarathon.org. Proudly sponsored by PKF, UPC, Venro Health, Aquafina, and Moving Preacher.
Uganda's oil and gas projects are providing opportunities for Ugandan businesses. Between 2017 and 2022, 40% of the 3,800 procurements worth $4.4 billion were awarded to 460 Ugandan companies. This includes 41 community-based companies that have been awarded contracts worth $2.3 million. In order to be contracted to supply goods and services for oil activities in Uganda, entities must register on the National Suppliers Database. Over 2,300 entities are registered on the National Suppliers Database. Registration is free. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Upgrade your lifestyle with the all-new entry-loaded Chillax voice bundles. Now, call all networks in Uganda with Chillax voice bundles. Call all networks, no expiry, no worries. Dial *100 *1# and select call all networks. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Welcome back from that short break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. On sign language, it is Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. Let's have a look at what's happening in the world of business. Ministry of Finance has issued a 10-year national lottery operating a license to Ithuba Uganda Limited, owned by both South African and Ugandan nationals. The Finance Minister, Matia Kasaija, says the cross-sectorial benefits of the national lottery on the economy are profound, as we hear in this story.
The purpose of the National Lottery is to raise government revenue, which shall be a percentage of the gross sales, including gaming tax of 87 billion shillings and non-tax revenue of about 60 billion shillings annually.
To raise the funds for good causes and increase the revenue base. And I know, as your Minister for Finance, that's my biggest headache, to raise sufficient money to cater for all the needs of people in Uganda is a big task. So I'm welcoming you to be part of my partners in that mission.
At its core, the National Lottery represents a preferable alternative to traditional revenue generation methods. However, there is an emphasis on responsible gaming.
So it took us more or less, we did a due diligence, and within about a year we knew, and we did a lot of spade work to understand the customer profile and to also understand whether the games will be acceptable and to localize the games.
They've had a significant impact on activities that would normally should be funded by government, but because of budgetary constraints, government is also hard up funding all different kinds of sectors. So things like sports, as you know, we've had issues of funding our sportsmen and women in competitions.
Engaging citizens through their voluntary participation creates a means of funding government and community services that is both economically sound and socially.
Yes, the serious challenge we have is to make sure that all these gaming activities do not harm our citizens. So this is what we mean by responsible gaming. We want to say, if you participate in these games, do it voluntarily but also carefully. Be mindful of the fact that you should not take too much time in games instead of working.
The National Lottery is first of its kind in Uganda and will create over 1,700 jobs for Ugandans.
There is a problem that does not allow me to sleep comfortably. We are offloading 700,000 youth on the labor market every year.
Dennis Igoa and Juman Samba for UBC Business.
Now, financial technologies are playing a big role in driving digital financial services and inclusion. Now, this despite concerns of data breaches that threaten to impede sector gains. The 6th Annual Bankers Association Conference, slated for next week, will take stock of the contribution of fintechs to Uganda's economy and also come up with strategies geared at making fintechs more secure.
The Uganda Bankers Association's 6th conference, slated for the 14th and 15th of this month, will highlight the trends and innovations in the fintech space that are changing the face of banking and financial services.
The conference will focus on how best financial institutions can work with the fintechs and other sector players through innovations to extend financial services across new and existing markets for full impact and sustainability.
So my final call is to really urge members, both private, public, to please join this important conference, and all stakeholders in the financial and services sector to contribute to this discussion and share in areas where they want to see improvement and support extended towards the need to drive technology advancement and digital services in the financial sector.
The conference will also discuss on how financial sector players can leverage on technology to offer solutions, enhance customer experience, deepen penetration, as well as foster socio-economic development. Although fintechs are playing a big part in fostering financial inclusion in Uganda and globally, there are emerging concerns that emanate from data privacy breaches.
Breaches and point of compromise, where are central points where this data is seen. Some of these we'll be speaking to at the conference. The UCC Director for Regulation will be at the conference, and it's one of the areas she's going to tackle. I think when there are points of weaknesses, it just means we must work harder. Those fraudsters, that information is then given to fraudsters who then call you. Many of our relatives in the village have fallen victim, and then they give a password or code, and the money is swept and so on. And that's why you have seen the industry stepping up campaign. You have seen the Vera Steady and many other programs to create awareness.
The 2022 report shows that the movement between mobile money wallet was Uganda shillings 145 trillion. The amount is almost close to Uganda's GDP, which currently stands at Uganda shillings 162 trillion. Marion Awori, UBC Business.
Uganda's oil and gas projects are providing opportunities for Ugandan businesses. Between 2017 and 2022, 40% of the 3,800 procurements worth $4.4 billion were awarded to 460 Ugandan companies. This includes 41 community-based companies that have been awarded contracts worth $2.3 million. In order to be contracted to supply goods and services for oil activities in Uganda, entities must register on the National Suppliers Database. Over 2,300 entities are registered on the National Suppliers Database. Registration is free. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Welcome back. Now let's have a look at what's happening in the world of sports. Now athletes from basketball, football, rugby, rally and Olympics have been rewarded at the 40Bet Real Stars Sports Monthly Awards. Our reporter John Barnes Sentamo was at Lazio restaurant in Lugogo and filed this report.
July's best sports personalities have been given due reward at the 40Bet Real Stars Sports Monthly Awards.
We had 6 disciplines for the last month, that is July. Those were so serious and busy, like we had from basketball, they were so busy. In Rwanda, we had Paralympics and also draft for the first time. They were on the podium. We had the rally. That male team also came back at the podium. You remember, ever since this year started, they are the only guys from rally which we've been crowning. So we did those disciplines which are busy, which are active, to be coming here every end of the month. Remember, we increased even on our package in the envelope. Now we are giving out 500,000 shillings. You want these guys, after winning, after doing so well in the month, to know that somebody is there monitoring my strengths and is going to reward me after doing my best.
In basketball, and for her exploits at the Afro Basketball in Rwanda, Janono To bettered others. Flavia Kusima was best in drafts, while Pirates Rugby Club's Arnold Ankunda Fodit during the Kitugum Rugby Sevens took the gong.
Together really well. I think we do gel together really well. I think we're trying to play for Uganda, so it's like bigger than just us. And that's like one of my favorite teams I've ever played for. I love everyone on it. I think we work together well.
I started joining draft them in 2017. And I have been going all over Uganda districts. I became the champion in women.
I've passed over time because I joined last year, against sports last year. This is India. Thank you all.
Fazila Ikwaput was football's best. Yasin Nasser and Ali Katumba yet again topped rally car drivers, while Sarah Naziwa edged all para badminton players. The 40Bet Real Stars Sports Monthly Awards has been a mainstay for the last 5 years and plans a mega end-of-year bash to celebrate this longevity that is enabled by, among other partners, Jude Color Solutions. Sandra Kahunde, John Benz Sentamo, News Tonight.
And that story brings us to the end of this first edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV this Tuesday, the 8th day of August 2023. Thank you so much for having kept us company. On sign language, it has been Elizabeth Nakakuni, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night. But also remember that our final edition of News Tonight will be at 10 p.m. So do stay with us and catch you then.